Good morning, my dear students. So, this is the sixth PhD video lecture on induction motor drives. So, before going to start the today's topic, let us summarize the what's the earlier class here. So, in earlier class, we covered the problems belongs to the stator voltage control as well as the stator frequency control, and also covered the closed loop operation of induction motor drives with help of VSI as well as the CSI closed loop drives covered. And also we started freshly the induction motor control from rotor side. So basically, induction motor speed control exclusively applicable for the wound rotor or slip ring type of induction motor rotor. So the main concept is the slip power is collected and fed back to the source instead of wasting. So there are different kind of methods in which conventional rotor resistance control, static rotor resistance control, as well as the slip power recovery schemes. So in earlier class we covered conventional rotor resistance control. What is the objective of the conventional rotor resistance control is the rotor terminals are collected through the slip rings and braces and connected to an external resistance. That external resistance is to be mechanically varied so that different values of rotor resistance may change the different values of the, and also the advantages of conventional rotor resistance control as well as the drawbacks of the rotor resistance control all are discussed and covered in the earlier class. So now let us start with this class with the static rotor resistance control. This is the second method of rotor side control. So static means stationary, conventional means it is the dynamic method. Static is the stationary method. So let us see how the rotor speed is controlled in this static rotor resistance control method. So let us see here. So this is the three-phase AC supply, the generalized three-phase AC supply that is fed to the stator here. And rotor is the slip ring type of induction rotor. So what is the speciality of slip ring type of induction rotor is it has an winding similar to that of the stator. But whereas in squirrel cage induction motor, the rotor does not have any winding, which is having just copper or aluminum bars. But slip ring induction rotor case is different. It has an winding. So the winding connections are to be collected, and see here the winding rotor connections are to be collected, and it is fed to a diode bridge. So where diode bridge, what it does, it converts the collected AC power into DC. So this is the DC link. So it is connected across a resistance which is realized by a transistor switch. Yes. So this is the rotor current output waveform where it conducts 120 degrees duration. So see here, it is the circuit diagram of a static rotor resistance control. Another one is the current waveform. So therefore, rotor resistance control employing a semiconductor converter. This scheme, this is this one. So let us start the discussion here. How the rotor resistance is to be statically varied. So rotor resistance variation, how the torque is to be changed, how the speed is to be changed. So see here. So the variation of rotor resistance steplessly using static rotor resistance control as shown. The AC output voltage of rotor is rectified by a diode bridge and fed to a parallel combination of fixed resistance R and a semiconductor switch realized by a transistor. So here this is the point A and this is the point B. So therefore the effective value of resistance across terminals A and B is the RAB is varied by varying the duty ratio of the transistor TR. Yes. So which in turn varies rotor circuit resistance. And here you have to be observed a LD DC link inductor, which is used to reduce the ripple and discontinuity in the rotor current. Yes. So therefore the RMS value of the rotor current is to be represented as IR is equal to square root of 2 by 3 into id. This is the equation number 1. How this value is getting in the sense, so you take the RMS value, 1 by pi integral 0 to 2 pi by 3 ia square d omega t. So the from this value onwards, so this expression has came. So therefore, how the resistance R is varied between A and B terminals. So let us see here, it is a transistor or a simple semiconductor switch which has two states, on as well as off states. So suppose if this is on, that means that this connection is a short circuit. So the current will prepare always which side is high, which side is low resistance is there. So if it is short circuit, in the sense the entire current is to be transferred through the semiconductor switch. At that time, R value is zero, resistance is applied to the rotor. Whereas if the transistor is off, that means that it is open circuit. So that at that time the complete resistance is applied to the rotors. So therefore, we conclude here, during the regular intervals of on and off times, so the rotor may have a resistance, external resistance, without variation. 0 and R resistances are varied, applicable to the rotor. So the resistance between terminals A and B is 0 when the transistor is on, and it will be R when it is off. See, so therefore, the value of resistance between the terminals is given by RAB. RAB is equal to 1 minus delta into R. This is the equation number 2. So, where delta is the duty ratio of the transistor, which may vary from 0 to 1. For example, delta is equal to 0, R resistance is applied. At that time, the chopper is off, chopper or transistor is off. If delta is equal to 0, delta is equal to 1, at that time, uh, this value is 0, at that time the transistor is on. So therefore, power consumed by RAB is equal to PAB, so which is I square R always generally. uh, I square here is ID square into RAB. So ID square into RAB has in equation number 2 1 minus delta into R. This is the equation number 3. So from equation 1 and 3, so just the power consumed per phase, that is the PAB by 3. So PAB already have an value, this divided by 3. And also, instead of id square, from equation number 1 you have to be observed, equation number 1 has IR is equal to square root of 2 by 3 into id, and you can make the expression per id and square this one and substitute in instead of id square here, so that G, which is equal to 0.5 into R into 1 minus delta into IR square. This is the equation number 4. So therefore, from equation 4, the per phase resistance increased by 0.5 R into 1 minus delta. Therefore, total rotor circuit resistance per phase given by, so the existing resistance RR, in addition to this, the zero point 0.5 into 1 minus delta times, it is the rotor injected resistance through the static method. And the total resistance, rotor resistance, can be varied from RR to 0.5 into 1 minus delta, as delta is changed from 1 to 0. So therefore, what is the difference between this method and earlier method is, earlier method is a conventional method where the resistance is varied mechanically, but here without any physical rotations or without any manual variations, the resistance is applied, one time is R, another time is 0. So during regular intervals of the time, it is to be changed like this. So whatever we discussed so far, that is to be represented in the form of a closed circuit. See here, closed loop speed control with static rotor resistance control. The same circuit, the same methodology, but here, while going to the the closed loop operations, accuracy is more important, steady state stability is more important, and the response of the system is more important. By keeping these in mind, and you operate the system per a constant speed, this is a closed loop systems are designed here. So see here, it has also two loops, inner current loop and outer speed loop. So both loops are activating per having a the closed loop operation of the system. Similarly, as usual here, you have to sense the is the reference speed is setting here, that is the omega m star. So omega m star is setting here. So the actual speed of the motor is sensed by speed sensor. So when the actual speed of the motor and reference speed always compared with an error detector, if there is no error, both will equal. There is no need of activating all these functions. Suppose if it has an error e omega m, so that error is to be processed through the speed control having P and PI controllers, and that is to be processed through current limiter, so that it uh, generates the magnitude of ID, that is the reference current ID star, and actual current of ID is also measured from the circuit. And comparing these two, again there is no error, there is no system activation. If it has some difference of the current, resulting that is to be processed through a current controller, and that is uh, again modified the delta star. So as the delta is changing, obviously the duty ratio is to be changed, and therefore the output voltage has to be changed. That may change the resistance. Yes. So this is the closed loop operation. This is simply explained in general way. Yes. See here advantage is the static rotor resistance control. So in advantages point of view, whatever may be the drawbacks in the conventional rotor resistance control, that should be overcome with the help of the static rotor resistance control. And what are the advantages? Mainly we have to highlight in the sense, one is the smooth and stepless control, and another one is the faster response, less maintenance, and compact in size. These are the advantages of the static rotor resistance control. So, and immediately followed by one familiar problem which belongs to the static rotor resistance control is here. Let us solve this problem. A 440 volts 50H 4 pole star connected wound rotor motor has the following parameters. RS is equal to zero point 0.5 ohms, RR dash is equal to zero point 0.4 ohms, XS is equal to XR dash is equal to 1.2 ohm, and XM is equal to 50 ohm. Stator Stator to rotor turns ratio is 3.5. Motor is controlled by static rotor resistance control. External resistance is chosen such that the breakdown torque is produced at standstill for a duty ratio of 0. Calculate LU of external resistance. How duty ratio should be varied with speed so that the motor accelerates at maximum torque. This is the problem belongs to the static rotor resistance control. Here all the parameters are given. Let us solve the problem. Here there are two unknowns. One is the calculation of external resistance, and other one is the relation between the delta and speed here. So let us start with the generalized formula for slip, maximum slip. Sm is equal to Rr dash by square root of Rs square plus Xs plus Xr dash whole square. So with initiation of the external resistance, this formula has to be changed. Sm is equal to Re is the external resistance plus Rr dash divided by square root of Rs square plus Xs plus Xr dash whole square. So Re plus 0.4. Re plus, because Rr dash Lu has a 0.4 divided by square root of Rs is 0.5 whole square plus Xs is equal to Xr dash is equal to 1.2, resulting it become 2.4 whole square. Simplifying this equation, Re which is equal to 2.4 pi Sm minus 0.4. This is the equation number 1. But you know that Re is equal to 0.5 into R into 1 minus delta into K square, where in theoretical theoretically we studied, but here K is the stator to rotor turns ratio, which is to be transferred from rotor side to stator side. Yes. So the you observe the difference here. The originally turns ratio is always defined rotor side to stator side, but here reciprocal it is given stator to rotor. So that's why it is into k square while converting rotor parameters into stator. Yes. So RE is equal to 6.125 into 1 minus delta into R. This is the equation number 2. This equation, because of k square is 3.5, is to be substituted here. So from equations 1 and 2, so both equations are external resistance RE. Equating those two equations, 6.125 into 1 minus delta into R is equal to 2.45 SM minus 0.5. This is the equation number 3. So the maximum torque occurs at the SM is equal to 1 and delta is equal to 0. Substitute these values in the equation number 3. So equation number 3 becomes this, and the value of R is equal to value of external resistance R is equal to 0.3347 ohms. And so far the first bit is over, and now you are evaluating the relation between delta and speed here. So substituting the value of R and Sm is equal to ns minus n by ns, and rearranging in the equation 3, which represents the 6.125 into 1 minus delta into 0.3347 is equal to 2.45 into 1500 minus n by 1500 minus 0.4, where n is the speed in rpm. So you obtain the relation between the delta and n. So delta is equal to 1.195 into 10 power minus 3 n. So there is a direct relation. There is a direct relation, but this value may be varying from person to person. Check it this value and tell me what is the final value. My value is this. Yes. So if you also approaching the same value, no problem. If it is not, you inform to me in the interactive session. So therefore, this equation concludes that for acceleration, the motor at maximum torque, delta must change linearly with the speed. So the relation between this one is, so delta is directly proportional to n. This the problem belongs to the static rotor resistance control. Yes. So far the static rotor resistance control is over. So the next method of speed control, which is the slip power recovery schemes, is, so this method is also known as EMF injection method. EMF injection method is, so let us see initially before going to the original methods. Let us have some introduction belongs to the slip power recovery schemes. So you see the equivalent circuit of a slip ring or wound rotor induction motor with a voltage VR injected into the rotor as shown. Yes. So in this induction motor, this is the stator equivalent circuit, this is the rotor equivalent circuit, and there is a external source VR which is connected into the rotor circuit. See the arrow marks. It is the dark line represents upper and dotted line represents lower. That means that voltage injected and consumed. This, so this figure represents the induction motor operation with an injected voltage into its rotor. Yes. So let us assume the stator to rotor turns ratio is unity, and neglect rotor and rotor copper losses completely. So therefore, the output power of the motor is equal to the input power minus the injected one. That is, input power of the rotor is air gap power, and minus PR is the power absorbed by the VR. Yes. So PM is equal to PC minus PR. This is the main equation. Based upon this, all operations are carried on. So where PR is the power absorbed by the source VR, therefore, the magnitude pace of PR can be controlled by controlling the magnitude and pace of VR. Yes. So, for example, let us take the case one. If PR is equal to 0, PR is equal to 0. So, what is this equation become? PM is equal to PC. So, motor runs its natural speed torque characteristics. Is, so nothing is happen here. There is no injection. So PM, because the losses are less neglected, so input power is equal to output power. So when PR is equal to positive, PR is equal to positive in the sense it is subtracted from the PC, resulting PM is reduces, thus motor will run at lower speed per the same torque. And similarly, if PR is equal to PC, in this case the output power PM is equal to 0 and consequently the speed will be 0. So therefore, there is a conclusion here. PR is varies from 0 to PZ will allow speed control from synchronous speed to zero speed. So this represents the dark arrow which is represented in upper side. Yes. So similarly, when PR is negative, this is the another case. PR is negative. So resulting what will happen? The PM is very large. Resulting this has act as a source of power, and PM will be large than PZ, and motor runs at speed higher than the synchronous speed, representing a dotted line arrow towards the downwards as shown in the equivalent circuit diagram. So this is the power injected into the rotor circuit. Yes. So resulting what will happen? See, let us see in the next one. Yes. So therefore, after discussion of that introduction, so you have to conclude what is the slip power recovery scheme in the sense. So therefore, the variation of PR for controlling the speed of induction motor on rotor side is generally referred as slip power recovery schemes. So in the slip power recovery schemes are classified as two different schemes. Those are, one is the static scared base drive, another one is static Ramas drive. So in examination point of view, in my perception, there is no question paper without these questions. Yes. So therefore, rotor side in stator side control, one is the frequency is more important, frequency variation, and this side the slip power schemes are more important. Yes. So the slip power recovery schemes are classified two manners here. One is the static scale based drive, another one is static Ramas drive. So let us start the first one is static scale based drive. So static, this the architecture of the static scale based drive. So by representing or by drawing the circuit diagram, we will have a half of the marks for the question. Yes. So simply represented here, the three-phase system is there. The three-phase supply is fed to the stator, and the slip power is connected to slip power is taken from the rotor. And there are two switches, three-pole switches, S1 and S2. Suppose S2 is open, S1 is closed, so it seems to be a conventional rotor resistance control if resistance is variable. Yes. So for example, S1 is open, S2 is closed. Is so S2 is closed in the sense that collected AC power is fed to the diode bridge. So diode bridge, what it does, it converts AC into DC. That is the ED1. Is so that depends upon the slip everything. Is so this ED1 is here, and that is passed through the DC link inductor LD. So this will minimize the ripples as well as discontinuity in the current. So it is fed to a controlled rectifier, operating as a inverter. Yes. So controlled rectifier, already discussion in the first unit. It has a firing angle ranging from 0 to 180 degrees. Per 0 to 90 degrees, it acts as a rectifier. 90 to 180, it acts as an inverter. So we will always keep the firing angle in such a way that alpha is greater than 90, so that it behaves like an inverter. And when the input DC is to be converted into AC again and fed to the supply through a transformer of the ratio M is to 1. So that means that once the induction motor functioning something, during this time the slip power is collected and converted into DC and again converted into AC per control and supplied to the system. So therefore huge amount of power is to be conserved here. So these methodologies are useful to avoid the drawbacks of the conventional rotor resistance control as well as the static rotor resistance control. So this is the drive circuit. This is the drive circuit, and followed by the speed torque characteristics. You can observe the speed versus torque curves. Yes. So for different values of alpha is equal to 90, alpha 1, alpha 2, like this. Yes. So the range of the firing angle per inverter is, it is from 90 to 180 degrees. Therefore 90 degrees less than alpha 1, less than alpha 2, alpha to less than alpha to less than 180 degrees. Yes, so these speed torque characteristics per static square base drive. So as per my perception, I am saying once such type of questions are expecting in examination, so these architecture as well as speed torque characteristics are more important for us. Yes, so see the next one. So as per our discussion, so about this scheme we are talking is, so this this scheme provides the speed control of own rotor motor below synchronous speed. You should observe that the which type of speeds are getting with help of this type of system is, so it is below synchronous speed. So what does the system does here? What it does? So a portion of motor AC power is converted into DC by a diode bridge, and the control rectifier working as an inverter converts it back to AC and feeds it back to the AC source. So therefore, the power fed back can be controlled by controlling inverter counter EMF ED2, which in turn controlled by controlling the inverter firing angle. Therefore, drive input power is difference between motor input power and power fed back. Yes. So, and one more important point here. So, if the system is a lossless system, so VD1 is equal to ED2 but opposite in direction. So, this the difference is, so it is DC, AC is converted in DC, and this DC is converted into again AC. So ultimately VD1, the magnitude of ED1 is equal to magnitude of ED2 but opposite in direction. Yes, so neglecting stator and rotor drops, ED1 is equal to this, the equation for the controlled uncontrolled diode bridge is 3 root 6 by pi SV by N. This is the equation number 1, where S is the slip. And ED2 is the inverter firing angle, inverter output voltage. 3 root 6 by 5 V by M cos alpha. It is a fully controlled converter, cos alpha term as usual coming. Yes. So, where alpha is the inverter firing angle, and N and MR is this N and this MR respectively, the stator to rotor turns ratio of motor, and source side to converter side turns ratio of the transformer. So neglecting drop across inductor. So therefore, as per our discussion, ED1 and ED2 has equal in magnitude but opposite in direction. So therefore, ED1 plus ED2 is equal to 0. Yes. So substituting equation 1 and equation 2 in the ED1 plus this equation, so that we will have a 3 root 6 3 root 6 by pi S V by N place 3 root 6 by pi V by M cos alpha is equal to 0. Therefore, simplifying this equation, S is equal to minus N by M cos alpha, and this can be also written minus A cos alpha. So, where A is N by M. So, this maybe takes some more derivations, everything. So, let us stop the class today here, and we will continue in the next class. It's simply we summarized that first we discussed about the static rotor resistance control method, and after this we started the slip power recovery schemes. In this slip power recovery scheme, the static square base drive also discussed. Yes, so the in further class we will continue with the rest of the topic belongs to the static square base drive as well as the static Ramus drive, so that the theoretical part of the unit fifth is over, and you do the some more problems, so that this unit will be closed, maybe 1 or 2 classes incoming. So thank you. Any doubts? We will interact with the interactive session in afternoon sharply by 3 p.m. I hope all of you following and doing well. Thank you one and all.